how do we be part of community? How do we affect the community that we live in? How are we part of that? How do we figure out, as Dr. Chong had talked about, turning mirrors into windows, really seeing what is out there when we're looking and seeing what is wrong with the world or what is right with the world that we want to make even greater. And Civics Camp is part of that. And I have a number of guests here who were able to tell their stories about how they became engaged in community, what was their call to be part of something more than themselves. And I'm really honored to have them. For me, there were many different parts of getting engaged in community that got me on my path to where I am today. I live in San Rafael. When I moved there, I had no idea that I would have served on the San Rafael City Council or ultimately be elected to represent the North Bay in the Assembly. But one of the first things that got me involved was when the community was doing work on my neighborhood park. And that was my first engagement with City Hall after living there for a number of years. But I thought about what I wanted the park to be for my children and for my neighborhood, and it brought me out of my home in an evening where I could have been watching TV or just hanging out, but I needed to be part of something bigger than that to have an effect in my neighborhood. And it was one of the best things that happened. So I had some ideas about what should happen to the park, and let me tell you, the city did not adopt any of them, but it got me engaged and a little bit frustrated. And that's often what calls us to be part of our community is, okay, how do we work within it to get some of the outcomes that we want? But that wasn't the first thing that I did. Also, when I was in college, I worked very hard to be a part of community. I went to Cal State Northridge, which is part of the CSU. And while I was there, there was a massive earthquake, 6.9 on the Richter scale. And it was in the semester after that earthquake that I ran to be vice president of the student body, and the following year became president of the student body. And not everyone needs to follow that path. But it was my response to a crisis was I need to be a part of making sure that this community heals, that the school is serving the students at the university. And it really broadened my horizon as to, what do I want to do, when I grow up? And sometimes I'm still wondering what that might be. But it's a lifetime journey that we're on to figure that out. And there are so many different milestones as I look at my past that helped me realize that being part of something bigger than myself is something that I can learn a whole lot about and something that I can contribute to. The next part of this evening is going to our breakout groups, and we've got 8 fantastic community leaders who are going to break it down with all of you and talk about ways to either plug in their story, your story, and I'm just really so grateful for them to take some time out to be a part of this evening.